Hello there, welcome. And this is a very special webinar. And I'm delighted to have with me Paul Jameson and Alex Vernon-Smith from 20EA. How are you both, gents?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
I actually thought you were just doing, Paul, that kind of like pause thing that people do there just to wind people up.
I wasn't sure who was going to go first. I thought I'd let Alex go, but it didn't work.
Sorry, you were being slow, and that's okay. No, yeah, just sort of saying that we're away from the agents now, so we can really, we're not with the muggles, we're with the other techies. Look, we're here today because actually this is one of those really exciting ones where, because we kind of span both genres, we're obviously dealing with the agents on a daily basis, we're dealing with the supplier on a daily basis. This is one of those occasions, though, on a rarity of occasions, where the suppliers that we're talking to actually can help out other suppliers, isn't it? I think you guys have come up with something pretty unique that, well, I'm not going to say this is the reason why they have to stay on here, but I can't understand a single supplier that won't be interested in what you've got to say. Just to give them the title, using data to power up property industry supplier businesses. Okay, well done. You've clearly ChatGPT'd that, but I'm not going to. Who's going to talk me through the opening of it? So, what new opportunities you're verging into on this kind of supplier side of things?
Yeah, I'll take it first. So, as you're aware, Simon, as many of the people listening to this are predominantly we sell data and insight to estate agents, and that I just want to be clear, that is still our primary focus. However, over the last 12-18 months, we've been getting approached more and more from prop tech suppliers across loads of different sectors. As you're aware, there's hundreds of them covering different aspects of the home moving process, and there's loads of different use cases. I wouldn't say there's one supplier comes to us for one thing, but we've identified an opportunity that actually a lot of these, if I was to summarize it, a lot of suppliers and these prop tech firms build amazing products.
Yeah.
But they kind of build the product, then they go, oh, right, but who do we sell this to? How many estate agents are there? We're missing this data. How do I get that data? And I'm generalizing, of course, but that's a common problem that they come, and that's something we can solve and help suppliers with. So I'm delighted, like Alex is our head of sales, and Alex is going to be focusing on these prop tech partnerships because there's a variety of ways we can help these suppliers. And we'll perhaps run through those one by one in a minute.
And just before we do that with Alex, that's absolutely spot on, isn't it? Because, when we sit down and we help consultatively, as you know, a lot of the suppliers there, it is always in one of the top three kind of issues, what you're talking about here. The amount of people that we've sent over you from the supplier side, because obviously I know a little bit about how you're able to help out. And what you're really doing there is just making it aware to everybody else. This is a service that you've got a lot of expertise and history on, haven't you, in terms of solving sometimes quite bespoke elements and statistical research that's needed about this industry. Because, as you said, you can be the best techie in the world. You can have the best, you can't sit in your ivory tower though and expect it to find the agents by itself, can it?
Yeah, exactly. So, and we do, one of the things we don't really publicize lots, so estate agents might not be aware, or suppliers, is we do loads of consultancy. So we get approached all the time for like quite bespoke issues or problems. So an example at the minute, obviously there's lots of acquisitions going around in the estate agent sector. So we have quite detailed conversations with a variety of like private equity houses and people like that. So I'd almost say most questions or problems we've tried to tackle in some way across whether it be that example or across other sectors, because we span into removals, retail, financial services, lenders, conveyancing, mortgages. So like we, as a business, as a group, we cover all the different stages of the home moving process. So I think there'll be a lot of suppliers that go, oh, I wonder what the answer to that is, or I wonder how we tackle this. The likelihood is we've probably tackled it and answered it. So yeah, on that consultative approach, I'd encourage anyone just to talk to us, because we've probably been through what we're trying to solve at some stage.
And from the very top level where I came to you, and for other people is, how many different brands are there? How many different offices are there in the industry? What level of listings are done on the letting side in that particular town, postcode, anything else there? The trends over time, the amount of, we hear about the personal agent growth. What does that actually look like? You've been tracking online agents. I mean, every element that you want to look at in this industry in terms of how it's segmented is stuff that you are and have been helping people out with.
Yeah. And I'd say that's I'd say that's the most popular request we get around that perhaps more strategic market segmentation. Because if you speak to any marketer, if you don't understand your target market, you don't know the size of it, you don't know the value of it, you don't know how that looks, then you're going to struggle to sell your product effectively in an efficient way. So we do a lot of that. So as an example, we've got our Insight product, which you're very familiar with. Now, typically we license that to estate agents, but it's really valuable to a supplier as well, because it allows them to do that market segmentation. It also, depending on what stage of the kind of journey they are, it really helps focus their sales and marketing teams. So it
even allows a bluffer like me to appear like an expert, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're seeing a strategic account or prospect for you to understand what their market share is, who their main competitors are, and everything else there. Even down to things like withdrawal rates, gives you a real instinct and understanding of what that business is before you've even walked in the door. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and again, another example. So an example, we work with a couple of sales progression type businesses.
Yep.
Now, how they use Insight or our data is quite specific, but so valuable. So they're not necessarily interested in listing numbers or sale numbers, especially, although it's of interest. But what they love is fall through rates and time to complete. So they, for any geography, for any agent, they know what their fall through rate is and how long it takes them to get from sale agreed to completion. Now, armed with their sales teams armed with that data, they can basically come up with a list of people with poor fall through rates or taking ages and go right. And the idea is not to kind of lambast them, but it's like we can help you here, and you can kind of show examples of other clients in their area that they work with lower fall through rates and lower a shorter time to sell, and it's so valuable for their sales teams. Because as you're aware, there's hundreds of suppliers all dying for the attention of estate agency owners who pretty much switch off now. So if you're not approaching them with anything interesting, or you don't know their business inside out, you're going to struggle to get a meeting and kind of talk to them even about your product. So that's one example there on that side. Another example might be perhaps earlier on the process. So there's lots of kind of client onboarding firms now and who do AML checks and things like that. Quite often their pricing model as a supplier will be linked directly to the number of AML checks that they do for that agent. So again, if you think of the front end of the process, then listing numbers and sale numbers are really important, because actually they can go, well, this prospect here, we know they're doing 100 listings a month or 75 sales a month. So we can work out how many AML checks we would do on average each month, price that up, so we know exactly what that client's worth to us. Or flipping it on its head, if the agent's kind of getting commission or a revenue share of that, they can kind of tell them and approach them, we can make this amount of money for you. So there's loads of specific kind of use cases. And I suppose one of the challenges we're doing is trying to come up with all these use cases and collate it, because they're almost endless. But we've done quite a bit of work on that. And what we've done, we've actually segmented each kind of key element, so and of the prop tech market, and come up with what we think are the use cases for that sector. So it could be website companies, it could be conveyancing firms, it could be prospecting firms. We've come up with a list of how we think we can help.
To a degree, I guess, and Alex, it'd be interesting to understand, obviously as you're running with this for TwentyEA, it's almost like you don't have to worry about, although you have to, from your point of view, so you have to manage all those different user cases. But all the supplier, they will already know what their pinch points, their problems are, aren't they? They just need to come to you and say, look, this is something we haven't been able to find out very easily in the past. Can you help out? And then you can triage that, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, funny enough, it's one of the main points of my job is as PJ mentioned to or alluded to earlier, that we do a load of consultancy work. It's speaking with companies that aren't familiar with what's necessarily available to them. A lot of people who are running prop tech companies or who are the sort of techies behind a lot of the prop tech solutions that are out there now aren't necessarily property industry experts. So they either assume something similar exists from a previous industry they've come from, or they're just not familiar with what's available within the property industry. So it's sitting down with them, it's doing the consultancy piece of, are you aware that this data is actually available? Because a lot of the data that we have is not readily available by pretty much almost anybody else. There are other sort of data collators or companies out there, but they don't have the, firstly, the experience, but also they don't cover the breadth of what we do. I mean, there are four sort of key areas that we really focus on. So it's the UK property market itself and the sort of transactions that happen within that. It's agency performance. So, you know, we've also got a whole ability to be able to look into specific agents and how they've been performing either currently or historically within their marketplaces. Individual property data. So if you know, we've got, I think, 32.8 million at last count of the residential UK properties. We have extensive data on almost 400 data points per property that we call our DOMUS data dictionary. And then we've got data on the homeowner and the home mover, which sort of becomes more prevalent within the retail space, but that's why we operate across retail as well. But we've got those four sort of key data sets, so to speak. And when you collate that and then sort of collate that data, and then you're able to deliver it in a format that is relevant to lots of different industries, as again PJ sort of mentioned, you know, whether it be property groups, estate agents, developers, new home builders, conveyancers, financiers, whatever, or consultancies, they all want the data, but they all want a different chunk of it, and they want it in a different format or delivered in a different way, whether that be through bespoke consultancy or whether that be through APIs, whether it be through a specific app or an online platform. And we have the ability to deliver across pretty much any format that they need that specific chunk of data, delivering in a specific type of format. And I think one of the reasons that we're quite keen on having a chat with you and sort of getting our name out there in the supplier sector is we've historically worked with loads of estate agents and we continue to do so. But we've never really shouted about the fact that we actually work with probably hundreds, if not thousands of estate agents, but maybe tens of thousands of businesses across the UK and some guys. I think a lot of people are familiar with 20EA as sort of the backbone of, or where you would go to get property related reliable data in the UK. But actually there are a lot of other sort of peripheral services and products that we offer to enhance suppliers' products and services and their sort of operational efficiency, let's call it.
Yeah. Two things jump out there. It's the size and scale that comes across. I mean, I happen to know that, obviously, having worked for you guys for, you know, a period of time here, and that's always been fantastic in that it gives you the flexibility to be able to do more in different ways. And then, yeah, just on that second point there is, this isn't like, you know, you just get it as a spreadsheet, is there? You guys will work with them, these you know, tailored solution. Do you need it as a feed? Does it have to go via an API? Is it an Excel spreadsheet? Is it something else? All of these different things, because you've got your development team that can specialize on that. You can really match what they need effectively.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on. We've got a fantastic, so we've got a team based over in Hanoi called TwentyEA, which is an exceptional team that help either build very bespoke solutions to deliverability, or, you know, deliver on specific data feeds that people need. Whatever the case is, we've got the ability to to be very flexible with a client's needs and work towards achieving whatever they want to achieve.
Yeah.
And just on that point, Simon, this is probably a point you'll be familiar with. Like, a supplier's product development roadmap is probably they're probably kind of busy for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, because they just try and build and new features and products all the time. So one of the things we can do and really help a kind of prop tech supplier is you can actually use our Hanoi team, which is wholly owned. It's fully part of 20EA group. And we've got like 30, 40 developers out there. You can actually outsource your software development to Hanoi at a fraction of the cost that it would cost in the UK. And there's two angles there. So firstly, and I have these conversations where I go, oh yeah, we'd love to do that, but we are committed to building another part of our product for the next 6 months, so we can't squeeze it in. Well, actually, you can outsource that element to Hanoi, and they might be able to kind of build and develop that in a month, and kind of it doesn't impact your existing development team. So there's that element. There's also the element where actually you just might be at such an early stage, you don't have the resources or the cost or the time to have a big development team, and actually it's perfect for smaller, real kind of startups. Actually, we've got the expertise in the industry and knowing what we're doing. Just get them to build it quickly, and it kind of can accelerate getting your product out to market. So we also build, again, not many people know this because we don't really talk about it. We're also an official Reapit app developer. We built probably 10 plus Reapit apps for other suppliers. We do it for agents as well. But again, it's one of those where I go, oh, it'd be nice to have integrated with Reapit or have an app, but we don't have the resource because we're concentrating on our core product. Again, we do a lot of that, and we can pick that up at the start of the project. Or we've even picked it up mid-project. So companies have started developing it, either kind of hit a few roadblocks or run out of resource, and we can kind of pick that up. So we've got that expertise in that space as well. So again, they're all stuff we've got lots of resource there, and we'd be happy to have conversations with suppliers if that kind of resonates with them listening to this.
Lots of them will do. I mean, on there by definition, I think Reapit have got pretty much more integrations than anyone else. Was it 100 plus or whatever there? But there's over 1,000 companies just on our little site, so it shows the amount that aren't on there yet. And I think it is, how do you get started? And at that point about specializing, it's one thing having an API, it's one having a fantastic tool like Foundations to be able to build on, but there's still a lot of domain knowledge that goes on in there, don't they? That after having done it a few times, you can get the best out of the application and ultimately the service for your clients. Yeah.
And just specifically around software development, there's obviously lots of great software development companies out there, but there's not many that just specialize in the property industry. And the UK property industry is quite unique, just the nature of it. And you can build a cool product, but if you don't understand the nuances around estate agency and the process and the home moving process, you might fall down. So again, our team in Hanoi for years and years have been predominantly working in the UK estate agency sector. So they understand, even though they're on the other side of the world, they understand like what the UK market looks like, and they understand the terminology around the new instruction, evaluation, that kind of stuff, which sometimes other companies might fall down on. So yeah, it's there's lots we can do to help.
Because you do hear that a lot, don't you? Again, using that analogy, there's a lot of fantastic tech companies out there, I'll call them generic companies, but the time and energy it takes to actually understand UK property and all the intricacies around it, the services like yours can obviously just absolutely short circuit that whole MVP stage of somebody trying to break in or customize it. And again, coming from other countries as well, aren't they? I mean, we talked about a handful of ones who are coming, whether it's from Australia, America, South Africa, wherever it is, who need to localize it for the UK property market. You having that domain knowledge again works there.
Yeah, we as a point there, just to sort of point out, we have relationships with large property firms, prop tech firms. We approach regularly by companies that have a good big presence outside of the UK, but have very little expertise with inside the UK. Because we've pretty much, I would say 99% of times that we're approached and we discuss things with another organization, we've already experienced it. Like PJ sort of mentioned at the very beginning, we've already done this in some guise with another company, or it's certainly explored what's involved and what we can help with. So we have that experience. We've done it before. Whether it's bringing over a prop tech solution that's worked on another continent, which we're currently going through for the third or fourth time at the moment, or whether it's a major property group hoping to break into the UK. We've been there, a handful of times as well. We're able to point out the pitfalls immediately before they waste 30-40 grand exploring something which we know categorically won't work because we've done it ourselves or we've experienced it with another client. We're able to sit there between the EA team and our data team and sort of point out, well, I wouldn't necessarily look at that route because we've experienced this pitfall before, we've experienced that pitfall before. So let's look at deploying your capital better, better spent elsewhere.
The classic one of that is, I've got a great idea. It's a new property portal. I'm going to take on Rightmove. If I had a penny for every email I've had like that, I'd be rich.
You wouldn't be sat with me, would you? But so what else, just before we conclude, because obviously you put together a really fantastic package as well for Kerfuffle members on the supply side of things. Anything else we're missing from me in terms of the proposition, in terms of what, I suppose first things first, if somebody is interested, and the vast majority will want to say, actually, pick up the phone or drop you an email, is that what they want to do? Just get in contact and sort of just learn a bit more about how you can help out?
Yeah, for sure. Just either drop me an email, at the bottom of whatever email we're going to send out. At the bottom of this, we'll put my email and contact details. But yeah, just to sort of summarize, if there's anything data or tech related when it comes to the property industry and you're hitting a brick wall or you want some advice, just give us a call. There's nothing we haven't experienced already to date that we haven't been able to provide some sort of guidance on. So it's always worth exploring with us.
We have a very consultative approach with this angle. So Alex has loads of calls each week where we just kind of discover, learn about the product, learn about some of their pain points, and then we can kind of suggest solutions. Sometimes we can't help. It's a bit niche and it's not our area of specialism. We're happy to walk away. We won't kind of force people into using us, but a lot of the time it's like, oh yeah, we can really help with that, and we'll kind of develop that and kind of come up with a solution and kind of work on in a consultative manner.
Well, we're certainly, I can vouch for whatever it matters. I know a number of businesses that who have worked with you guys. It's from the app, so obviously over there, or on your data services, and certainly obviously all the myriad different agents there. And I can absolutely testify the fact that you guys know your onions and are really really proactive and consultative in the way that you can help out. So that is good. It's important to know that there's a company there with the size, scale, and expertise that can help you through these sometimes tricky areas. And just talk us through what you were willing to do. And fantastic again, Kerfuffle, I always find a bit ironic considering how much I spend at the bar. Is all about saving money. You've been able to put together a bit of a package as well for Kerfuffle supplier members, haven't you, as well, to save on the service? So do you want to just talk us through that?
Yeah, so Insight, which is probably our kind of flagship product in this space, so that allows you access to data for the whole of the UK, every single estate agent and letting agent. So again, that strategic view and organising your sales team, that's really our kind of entry level. That is a minimum. You should have that to kind of really understand everything. We're very happy to offer all Kerfuffle members 25% off our standard pricing for that. Quite a significant discount, and again, they just need to get in touch with Alex, and Alex can show them around the system, and we're happy to honour that for life.
Spectacular. Well, that's it. There we are. So, you can always do what we all do on the supply side and just artificially inflate the prices, but no. Too much. I've said too much. We're not with the muggles now. Look, guys, fantastic. We don't do enough of this, really. those suppliers that can help out other suppliers and be their partners is brilliant. So I encourage anybody to have a chat with you guys, and it's every size and scale. I know a lot of the largest companies in the industry that use you, obviously helping out with the dev side of things. That's a wonderful way to first find out about, you know, whether it can help with their own side of things. If it's the new startup, it's a no-brainer to not try and reinvent the wheel by talking to you. In fact, I can't really think of a particularly bad user case as to why somebody shouldn't get in contact with you, but I'm sure we'll find them. For today, fellas, thank you so much, Alex and PJ. We'll catch up soon. Let's catch up, talk to a few people down the line with a few more of those user cases as well.
Yeah, we'll set up another session in a few months, and we can bring on some of the other suppliers that use us and get them to tell us how brilliant we are, rather than just us two.
That's always nice. Alex, PJ, thanks very much. Bye bye.
Thanks, Simon.
Cheers.